too pure for this wicked world. Your data's uncorrupted, but does something skip inside you? That's what takes up time.
Hi there, welcome back to my hot kitchen. I'm Wendy, and I'm excited to show you a really pretty dinner that's fun and very hands-on to make. It's going to make your sweetie's mouth water. So we're gonna make a stuffed flank steak, and we're gonna serve it up with crisp red potatoes and a fun little pastry to go along with it. We're gonna start by mixing up a little marinade here. So I have equal parts of olive oil and vinegar and water. And then you're gonna whisk in some jam. Any sort of flavored jam that you like is good. The jam's gonna add the sweetness and the thickness to the marinade. Whisk it all together. And then move on to the spice rub. So I have a little bit of cumin and rosemary and black pepper here. And I'm gonna sprinkle it over the top of this delicious flank steak. And then I'm gonna get the other side too, after I press the herbs and spices into the meat. You know, I think flank steak was really made for stuffing. It's got just the right thickness to it, and it stays pretty tender, although with the addition of a nice acidic marinade like the one we're making tonight, it gets even more tender. Whisk the marinade just a little bit more and pour it over the meat. Then take the tip of your knife and kind of score the surface of it. That's going to help the marinade sink into the meat. Flip it over and repeat on the other side. The great thing about this dinner is it's not too heavy. So it's perfect for a night in. All right, this is ready to go in the fridge. And you're gonna wanna let that marinate for about 4 hours. And now we're moving on to the stuffing. So you're gonna need a nice big bowl here and about 2 to 3 diced up bell peppers. I recommend using a food processor for this. Then you're gonna crack an egg into it. Take a fork and kind of beat that egg. Fold it into the peppers. Into that, you're also going to fold about 7 to 8 minced up olives. I recommend using Kalamata olives if you got them. And also about 3 to 4 cloves of garlic. Stir that up and get the egg to coat the entire mixture. And then you're going to add breadcrumbs. I'm going to start by adding about that much first. You just want to add enough to kind of hold the mixture together. You don't want it to be dry, you don't want it to be wet, just kind of moist and moldable. That's actually really good right there. And now we're going to take the stuffing and the roast out of the fridge. So now this is the fun part. You're going to actually get to build your little rolled up roast here. So start by putting down a thin layer of Asiago cheese. The cheese is going to act as a bit of a glue and hold everything together. And then the next thing you want to add is your stuffing. Tremendous. And when this is all put together, this is kind of one of those all-in-one meat and vegetable deals. Put a nice layer of the stuffing down on there. I'm going to go for a little bit more. So with the stuffing, the salt in the stuffing comes from the cheese and the olives that you added. So the next layer is the spinach. And what you're going to do is just pile this beautiful bright green spinach onto this roast. And you're going to want to use quite a bit of it because it's going to cook down and become flat. So it seems like a lot right now, but it's really not going to be much of anything once it's all cooked. Beautiful. Sprinkle with more cheese. Yummy. Lots of nutrients in the spinach and the peppers too. All right, now we're going to roll this up. But actually, I think I want to start from this end instead because I've got a little point down there. So I'm just going to carefully fold it, carefully mold it. Oh, yummy, yummy, yummy. So using my thumbs to sort of squish the spinach down into it. Beautiful. Now we're going to tie it off, and then it'll be ready to go into the oven. I'm just going to crisscross it and drop it underneath and loop it back around. Being careful not to unroll the roll I just did, so that would really be a bummer. Fortunately, it doesn't require that much to keep it together. So probably just once or twice around it should do the trick for you. Tie it off. And then you're going to load this thing into a fresh, clean pan. And brush it with some more of that marinade. And when you apply the marinade, apply it with love, thinking of your sweetie and how good this is going to taste for them. All right, this is ready to go in the oven. So you're going to bake this at about 350 degrees until the internal temperature reaches 160 degrees. So I'm just going to put my thermometer in it, and I'm going to go wash my hands again. All right, so the next thing to do is the crisp red potatoes. This is a really simple process. Now I've already blanched my potatoes and cooled them down, so they're ready to go for this process. Remember when you make it to blanch the potatoes before you do it. So we're going to start by adding some olive oil and a little bit of butter to this pan. And you're going to want to use the butter because it's going to help the potatoes to brown a little bit. As the butter melts, you can go ahead and drop your potatoes into the pan. I have cut these pretty red potatoes into wedges, getting 6 out of each potato. How you cut yours is going to depend on your potato. All right, and once you have them all in the pan, sprinkle them with some parsley and some seasoning salt. And then remember, only turn your potatoes once. Get them brown on each side, just turn it once, or else they'll turn into a pile of potato mash. All right, and with these little guys going, let's go back over here and I'll show you how to make this tasty little pastry. So I bet you had some stuffing left over from the flank steak, huh? Well, good, because you're gonna want it for this. So what we have here is a little bit of puff pastry. These are the ready-to-go sheets. Make sure you buy the right ones. And what you're going to do is just cut them into little rounds with a little biscuit cutter. Puff pastry is a regular genie for your kitchen. It's how you get those flaky goodies without having to spend 16 hours in the kitchen making puff pastry. Let's go ahead and pull off your extra here. One to go. All right, they're all free. Excellent. So now take these little guys and pop them into a little mini muffin pan here. Look at how cute that is. And now with their extra stuffing, you're just going to fill these little cups. And then just serve these alongside the roast. Hopefully you'll have just enough stuffing to fill each one of those. and use the rest of the cheese to top them off. Little savory tarts. Let's go put these in the oven. It's a great time to pull the roast out of the oven and marinate it again too. So just take a little bit of this marinade that you poured off earlier and brush it over the top again. Yummy, yummy. And pop it back in the oven. Let's take a look at these little potatoes. Oh, they're getting a nice, pretty, crisp, golden brown color on them, so I'm going to flip them. Pretty. Crispy. Beautiful. Sprinkle these again with a little bit more seasoning, salt, and parsley. And then we can get going on the sauce. So you're going to want to have a little saucepan here. You're going to want to pre-warm it and get some butter melting in it because we're going to make a gravy with roux. I'm going to go ahead and dump some flour into there. Roux is the best thickener for a gravy. It adds so much flavor and characteristic to it. And it's just a simple mix of butter and flour. And you cook it for a little bit to cook the flavor of the flour out. And at that point, take it off the heat for a few seconds. And just picture how much your sweetie's going to enjoy this delicious gravy over the roast that you're making for them. Now that it's cooled a little bit, you can add your milk. You want to let it cool so that your milk doesn't scald when you mix it in. Let's go ahead and stir that together. And then you're going to bring it up to a boil and then drop it down to a simmer for a bit longer. To this, you're also going to add a little bit of that marinade that you pulled aside earlier. This is what's really going to flavor up the sauce, make it match the roast. And remember, because it's going to come up to a boil, it's going to be perfectly safe to eat. And then you're just going to want to let this come up to a boil and then drop it down to a simmer. And then we'll finish it off with seasonings after that. It's a good time to turn some potatoes. Remember to crisp up the skins as well, because that's what makes the red potatoes really awesome for this dish. Time to check on the gravy again. Beautiful. Now let's temper in just a little bit of the marinade for some flavor and color. When I say temper, just add it really slowly, just a couple drops at a time while whisking. Go ahead and add salt and pepper. Yummy. That's done. Go ahead and put a lid on it and just let it sit there and stay warm till the rest of the meal's ready. Let's go check on the roast now. And we're at 160. So everything's cooked in there. And the little savory tartlets are done too. Yummy! So you're going to want to let the roast rest for a few minutes so the juices stay inside the meat as you trim it. In the meantime, you can start plating up with the potatoes and the tartlets. So now go ahead and put the potatoes on a plate. These look so tasty. I can't wait to sink my teeth into those. tartlets in a little basket to go on the table. They're kind of like a dinner roll this way. The roast should be cool enough to carve now too. So let's lift it right out of this pan. It should all hold together because it's been tied up. And you're just going to cut the string off and slice it up. Take the thermometer out too. If you cut it at an angle, it kind of helps it to hold together a little bit better. That looks so good. It's going to cut off 2 pieces for each plate. So it is kind of delicate, so you're going to want to scoop it onto your knife, sort of gently slide it onto the plate. Beautiful. Just going to pour this in a little gravy boat here, serve it alongside the meat. Let my sweetie decide just how much he wants in there. All right, and we are ready to go to the table. What a magnificent meal you just made for your sweetie. I know it's going to taste delicious because you seasoned it up with lots of love. So serve this up next to a nice juicy Zinfandel and enjoy a little romance. Ciao, apron. Honey, dinner.
Yay!
Oh, right on. Hi. Nice to see ya.
You look nice. All right. Let's see.
Okay.
Another lovely dinner. You are such a good cook.
Made this one a pretty one for you.
This guy's really waiting. Wow, this looks yummy. This is such a hot kitchen. It's so good.
So thanks for joining me in my hot kitchen tonight. Have fun turning up the heat in your kitchen, and I'll see you next week. Night-night.
You're too pure for this wicked world.
Pet the kitties.